Hello, everybody, and welcome to Fun List Friday here on the Eat Sleep List YouTube channel. My name is Matt Johnson, your host, and today I want to delve further into the spirit of the month of October and take a look at the mysterious and creepy world of cryptids. Let's make a list. All right, I am really excited to get to talk about this topic today. It's something that I haven't really done before, not really something like it, and but it's something I'm really passionate about. I am. I've been in love with cryptids and the idea of cryptids for such a long time, and I tend to compare it to how the ancient Greeks and Romans and Norse mythology and even some Native Americans talked about their gods, their respective gods. And obviously we don't view cryptids as gods, but, these characters were built up through stories, through incidents, through legends, and they were passed down from generation to generation, and it added a level of curiosity and interest, and in some cases worship to those respective gods, right? The Hades and Ares and all these various Quetzalcoatl and all these different characters that have been worshipped over the years. And I think cryptids are kind of that modern day version of it, even though we've eliminated the god, like the various gods part. I think we've kind of moved on from that, generally speaking, but cryptids kind of came in and filled that void. And it's like, it's so cool to, at least for myself, I know there's a lot of people who don't believe in it, but to have something to believe in again, and I'm sure you can guess what I'm referring to. I don't, in case there's any people watching this around people who shouldn't be watching it, I will say that. But it is nice to have something, to believe that there is something weird and wacky and not normal in this world, and Lord knows there's a lot of stuff that's not normal, but like this concept that there's creatures that we haven't really like discovered, located, and just stuff, just the idea of these mystic monsters, these one-off incidents in some cases, and it happening, right? It happening to someone, affecting someone, and it's I don't know, from the comfort of wherever I'm watching, stuff about cryptids on or reading stuff about them, I'm all the way here for it. I am. It gives me it's a cool comfort level, it's fascinating. And I'm thankful for cryptids because it's connected me with so many great people over the years. My friends Johnny and Chris, and big shout out to my buddy Tice, who I miss dearly. He's big into cryptids, and I'm forever thankful that like years ago, I think he went to a cryptid museum, and he brought me back a sticker from one of the ones we're going to be talking about today on my top 10 list. But that was always cool. And then I have to say that, I have a really special connection with my mom over cryptids. My dad, dad a little bit too, my wife a little bit too, but especially my mom. And not just cryptids, but all sorts of different paranormal stuff. Before I got busy with, like, high school sports and the social life, like, one of my favorite things to do was sit and watch these shows with my mom, like, again, they're not cryptids, but like Ghost Hunters on Sci-Fi. Loved watching that with her. That was always really cool. It was neat until they just started not finding stuff all the time. It was really, the show kind of became a bit of a dud for a little bit with that, but it was really nice to be able to do that, to sit and have something to look forward to watch on a Wednesday night. There's so much to it. I bought this book a couple years ago, and I loved it. I actually picked at it a little bit in preparation for this episode. but it's the United States of Cryptids, written by J.W. Acker, and it's a very fun read. You know what I mean? It's not like this. It's well done, and it's got a nice, funny tone to all of it. It's some great illustrations, and I will be using it as a reference point at various points in my list. But man, it's cool. I can sit and listen to stuff all the time. Like back when I first discovered the internet, well, not really, but like discovered probably more specifically Wikipedia. I remember sitting around like late at night on a school night and reading up on the Wikipedia's list of cryptids page, which used to feel a lot bigger than it is now. But I would click, I would see them. They'd have them regionalized, right, or by country, or certain continent. But you click, and they tell you the incidents and stories about all of them, and that stuff hooked me. That hooked me. I spent a lot of late nights reading up about some of these things, and some of the memories have been burned and etched into my memory forever. But yeah, I remember the lights out. Our only computer was in the basement. This was pre-smartphones, and I sit in the basement and just read these things and just get the chills while I was, just learning about this and just falling into this trap of cryptozoology. So. Lots to talk about today. Very, very excited to do so, and let's carry on. All right, so I'm going to go the route that we went last week for the scary movie list and just try something a little different. Because what kind of lesson can you take from cryptids? I guess if there was one, I would say just enjoy it for what it is, not to take it too seriously. Like if somebody that you know likes and appreciates this stuff, you don't have to tell them how fake and phony it is, right? Like nobody wants to hear that. It's like pro wrestling. It's like I'm a pro wrestling fan. I know what it is. You don't have to tell me every time you see me what it is. Like, just don't be that guy or girl. Like, it's just goofy. It's just goofy. Just let people enjoy it for what it is. But what I really want to do for this is discuss what makes like a enticing cryptid to me. Because there's a lot that I don't really have interest in. Like, there's a lot of general ones that I don't care about. Like there's a lot of like offshoot Bigfoots that I don't necessarily care. Like this is my probably my least. I mean, I'm glad that they did it, but probably my least favorite thing about this book was that every region has like their own 2 or 3 different variations of Bigfoot. That's not something that interests me. There's some of the like the cats, like the tigers and jaguars like stuff, ABCs, and like some of that stuff doesn't necessarily interest me. The stuff that really does, though, the stuff that I like to hone in and channel it on. So usually 1940s to 1980s, that's a green flag. That's a thumbs up for me if I see it happen during that time period. And one of the ones on my list is well after that time range, but there's something about the 40s to the 80s that is very curious because, I mean, yes, there was a lot of paranoia, Cold War, stuff like that, but like I talked about with the Blob for last week's list, the scary movie list, like there's something about the 50s and like just this sort of thing that just goes hand in hand, right? It'll make more sense. But that's my favorite time period. There's stuff from way like years, like generations, thousands of years ago that are still talked about as cryptids sometimes. And it kind of lost on me. Another aspect that I really like is that when you see like police reports and news clippings and that there's multiple eyewitnesses to something, that always helps sell it. Because even if it is actually a hoax, this shows that it's being acknowledged, that it's public like knowledge. That it's not just one crazy person saying, "Hey, this is what happened," right? Okay, there was a police report taken down, and a bunch of and a bunch of people seen this thing, whatever it may be, and there's newspaper clippings about it. I love it. And now I'm not talking about like the National Enquirer kind of newspaper clippings. I'm talking about your local the local area newspaper clippings, and like that stuff is epic and exciting. I love going through some of that stuff. And the last thing for me, and it doesn't happen with a lot of them, but if there is video to help sell me it, and I know we're in a very crap age where like AI and other stuff like sells like fake versions of things, but I like video proof. Photograph proof is kind of cool too, but usually the photos are not very usually the photos and videos aren't good. I can't say that, but maybe just some kind of imagery proof or an attempt at proof to help sell me on whatever this thing is. I go down the rabbit hole all the time. Various spooky YouTube channels like Chills and Nuke's Top 5 and Slapped Ham, and I go through those all the time, and I see some cool stuff and stuff that's very obviously not real. But you're gonna catch my curiosity if there was something there that looks maybe even just a little bit legit. So that's pretty much it. I mean, there might be a couple other little factors here and there. I mean, there's been so many that I've heard of. There's a couple really mainstreams on my list, and there's a couple that are kind of maybe most people don't know about, and I can put you on to some of them. But let's get to the fun part. All right, everybody, it is time for my favorite part of every single video that we do. It is time to make the list. All right, as I always encourage, please feel free to comment along your favorite cryptids or send an email, eatsleeplistpod@gmail.com. Please, I'd love to see what tickles everybody's fancy, so to speak. And you might put me onto a new one that maybe I've never heard of or haven't really given much thought to. All right, I love this stuff. I love deep diving. I will not say no to anything cryptid that is sent my way. And yeah, let's have some fun. We got some storytelling to do. I got Wikipedia. I brought up the list of cryptids Wikipedia, and it's gonna help me guide through some of these so I can have a good reference point in telling the stories accurately. But yeah, this is going to be good. Let's get to it. My number 10. This is the newest one on my list, and by a considerable amount of time. So this is the Fresno Nightcrawler, and you've probably seen a video of this pop up from time to time. It first debuted in 2007, and it was found in South Fresno. A man shared a CCTV video. It was like a home video camera, I think, and it was, I think it was, if I remember correctly, it's two looks like pairs of, I'm getting the chills just talking about it. Oh boy, it's like late at night. It's on like a street or something, and there's like two white pairs of pants looking things walking. And I seen this on a ghost videos website that I used to go to all the time, and I've been hooked on this thing ever since. But yeah, I thought maybe it was just like a pair of ghost legs, but no, apparently these things have popped up quite frequently over the years, especially out in the West. One of the things that I love so much about this one is that they've tried really hard to disprove it, and they have not. to my knowledge, I've read and watched a lot of stuff. They have not been able to debunk the idea of the Fresno Nightcrawler. So it's very popular. The idea, obviously, I got the picture up, but it's just they think it's some kind of alien, possibly, but it's 2 legs and the eyes are like where the butt would be if it was an actual like lower half of somebody's body. So the Fresno Nightcrawler, that is my number 10. Number 9. This one's a wacky one to me. It's very, very popular. And there's a TV show out there. There's been several documentaries on it, but it is the Skinwalker. And I think everybody's heard of Skinwalker Ranch out there in, oh, good Lord. It's out in the West Coast area. Well, not West Coast, but it's out that way. It is out that way. And it is some interesting stuff. It's tied to Native American folklore, which is always interesting. You always hear the idea of, how the haunted stuff, the crazy stuff that happens if you build upon a Native American burial ground. You kind of hear that stuff all the time, and usually there's a bit of connectiveness to that. But the Skinwalker is interesting because it's apparently a witch that can turn into different creatures, different animals, and disguise itself as that. And yeah, I mean, I didn't watch too much of it, but the one documentary I did watch of it was that somebody went to this place to try and get some answers about what Skinwalker Ranch was all about. And one of the big no-nos was digging. All right, they couldn't dig into the ground because every time they did, something even worse came about. But on this ranch, they've seen all sorts of stuff. Lights, the cattle, mutilated and running and panicking and all sorts of stuff. But I remember, I forget what the documentary was, but there was a guy that the last time that they dug, he had some kind of head injury or issue where his head got really swollen up and he had to go to the hospital. They showed images of it, pictures of it. It was pretty crazy. They tried it again against this man's wishes, and the same thing happened again. And it was pretty surreal. I mean, we'll probably never know what all goes on in there, but I think it's really neat. The Native Americans have such a very amazing spiritual culture. And when you hear stuff like that, and there's a lot of talk about it, it's not just little pockets of people here and there, but there's I guess a pretty general consensus that skinwalkers they're kind of in the mainstream. It lands some credence. It lands some credence to it, and a lot of interest. A lot of interest. That's my only problem with a lot of those shows, though, is that they never actually find anything. They take you on an emotional roller coaster and usually end up a dud, usually. But Skinwalker, that's my number 9. Very, very interesting. My number 8, I'm going to go with the Flatwoods Monster. And this one always caught my attention because of the artwork that has accompanied it. It has been drawn several times over. It always stood out to me. As you can see with the image that is posted on one of the sides of me, it's got like a spade head and these yellow eyes in this like robotic looking suit, and it's pretty crazy. I'm going to read the story for you guys per Wikipedia. Yes, I'm lending my source. But here it is. So 1952, September 12th, 1952, at 7:15 p.m. Eastern. At 7:15 p.m. Edward and Fred May and their friend Tommy said that they saw a bright object cross the sky and land on the property of local farmer G. Bailey Fisher. And basically, the boys went home, told their mother, and then they went out to go investigate. And they reached the top of a hill where they said they saw a pulsing red light. And he aimed his flashlight in that direction and momentarily saw I just got the chills again. A tall, man-like figure with a round red face surrounded by a pointed hood-like shape. And this blew up. This blew up pretty big, and it had there was a specific smell associated with it. It was a nauseating, pungent mist that they described. But they got the local sheriff and deputies involved, and they went and checked out the area, and they didn't see, hear, or smell anything, so it's kind of like, eh. But they did discover skid marks where the craft apparently was, as well as a very, and quote-unquote, odd gummy deposit, which were evidence of a possible saucer and or alien. But it's pretty popular. It's out there, and again, this creature just strikes fear into me just looking at it. I try to picture myself in that situation. Again, here's the 50s, Cold War stuff, and you're in the middle of this West Virginia, and you see this red light allegedly, and then you go and see this creature, and it would be so bad. Oh, I'm scared. Yeah, it's the idea of it is pretty terrifying. So the Flatwoods Monster is that is my number 8. We are going to where is this place? South Carolina next. For our number 7, we are talking about the Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp. All right, this one first debuted in the 1980s, late 1980s. If I'm not mistaken, 1988 was the first encounter. But there was a lot of, in the vicinity of this Scape or Swamp, there was vehicle damage and sightings and all sorts of stuff. And it got pretty big attention in the area, newspaper, radio, and television publicity. And here's the story. July 14th, 1988, the Lee County Sheriff's Office investigated a report of a car damaged overnight while parked at a home in the area of Browntown outside of Bishopville, South Carolina, on the edges of Scape or Swamp. The car reportedly had tooth marks and scratches with hair and muddy footprints left behind. Sheriff Liston Truesdale noted that this was the start of various claims that eventually coalesced into a story about a lizard man in the swamp. Prompted by the news of the vehicle damage, 17-year-old Christopher Davis reported to the sheriff that his car was damaged by a creature he described as green, wet-like, and about 7 feet tall, and had 3 fingers, red eyes, skin like a lizard, and snake-like scales a couple weeks prior. According to Davis, he was driving home from work the night shift at a fast food restaurant when his car got a flat tire, and after he was fixing it, he saw the creature walking toward him. Davis got in his car and began to drive, but the creature was soon on top of the car, and he applied his brakes, and the creature rolled off. So, I don't know if you could tell. You could kind of tell my hair standing up. I am reliving my high school years right now, my high school and college years, by just sitting through this and reading this to you. But it blew up crazy, and I guess there have been several reports since. There's been, it's risen and fallen. There's something that happened in 2008. There was something in 2015. Apparently, a local TV station had photos and video. It's a very interesting story. I think the swamp creature, I think that's like one of those classic like Universal Studios monsters, like Frankenstein, like Dracula, like some of those, the Swamp Man or Swamp creature. There's been a lot of ideas of swamp things, and I don't know. I would not go that direction. If I was down in that area, I would definitely not go in that respective direction. It would actually, you know what? I'm a little curious. Maybe I would. But yes, this Lizard Man of Scape or Swamp. That is my number 7. Number 6, we are going to the Dover Demon. And this fella looks like the not prototypical, but it showed up in Massachusetts, which is, Northeast. you get some cryptids. This one might be the most famous of the Northeast area, maybe, possibly. But this guy, he's got a big old head. He's got like these frog legs. He's got a weird shape. This is the original sketch of the Dover Demon. But here is the story that accompanies it. 17-year-old William Bill Bartlett claimed that while driving on April 21st, 1977, he saw a creature about 4 feet tall with glowing orange eyes and no nose, mouth, and a watermelon-shaped head on top of a broken stone wall on Farm Street in Dover, Massachusetts. 15-year-old John Baxter reported seeing a similar creature on Miller Hill Road that same evening. And another 15-year-old, Abby Brabham, claimed to have seen the creature the following night on Springdale Avenue. And the teenagers all drew sketches of this alleged creature. I don't know if these kids knew each other at all. But Bartlett said he swore on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature. And it laid the way that they plotted it out, they like mapped it out where these kids seen it allegedly, and it was a straight line over a 2-mile distance, and it did not get made public for a little while. They said until the first half of May, even, and there was some similarities to another one we're going to mention momentarily, but there's explanations of it being type of like a moose calf or something like that. Sometimes the owls get blamed for it. That's like a low hanging like one, like, oh, it's the owls. But yeah, they that was it, really. I mean, it might have popped up a little bit afterwards, but it was basically from April 21st to 22nd, 1977. So the police report, the release of attention in the news, I think that's always an interesting sign, and I love alien creatures, like little quick alien creatures. It always helps out too, especially in that time period. So that is my number 6, the Dover Demon. Moving on to the top 5 now, and we're going to go with the Jersey Devil. And actually, this one is quite old, but this is actually probably the most famous Northeast one. I don't know why I was saying that with the Dover Demon, but I'm actually interested in this one because for the PlayStation 1, there was a video game called Jersey Devil that my cousin had. It was a platform game, and it was actually really, really cool. But it was a one-off. So I was always fascinated with it, but there is a legend with the Jersey Devil, and there have been several sightings over the years. So quick dating, the original history. According to one story, in 1735, a woman named Leeds was giving birth to her 13th child and exclaimed, "Let the child be the devil." The child was born normally, but immediately grew wings, tail, and claws and flew out to the Pine Barrens. But there were some early 20th century sightings of this thing. But here we go. We have a whole section for reported sightings. So according to legend, while visiting the Hanover Mill Works to inspect his cannonballs being forged, Commodore Stephen Decatur sighted a flying creature and fired a cannonball directly upon it. Joseph Bonaparte, who was the elder brother of Napoleon, claimed to see the Jersey Devil while hunting on his estate in 1820. During 1840, the Jersey Devil was blamed for several livestock killings. Similar attacks were reported in 1841, accompanied by tracks and screams. In Greenwich Township, in December of 1925, a local farmer shot an unidentified animal as it attempted to steal his chickens and then photographed the corpse. Afterward, he claimed that none of the 100 people he showed it to could identify it. On July 27th, 1937, an unknown animal with red eyes was seen by residents of Downingtown, Pennsylvania, and was compared to the Jersey Devil by a reporter for the Pennsylvania Bulletin. There was some sightings in 1951 in Gibbstown, New Jersey. They seen a monster matching the devil's description, and claims of a corpse matching the Jersey Devil's description in 1957. During 1960, there's been a lot. This is why. Ooh, here come the chills again. During 1960, tracks and noises heard near Mays Landing were claimed to be from the Jersey Devil. And there was a bunch of sightings in 1909, going back a little bit further. January 16th through the 23rd, 1909, newspapers published hundreds of claimed encounters with the Jersey Devil from all over South Jersey and the Philadelphia area. Among these alleged encounters were claims the creature attacked a trolley car and a social club. And police allegedly fired on the creature to no effect. So, yeah. Crazy. Crazy. This flying beast creature. I don't know what the most recent sighting, of this thing was, but when there's that much, usually, like, as far as I go, like, I'm going to believe it a little bit more, that's a lot of encounters for people for it to be so easily discredited. So yeah, number 5 is the Jersey Devil. We're going to my number 4, and we got some heavy hitters, pretty much 5 and onward. But we're gonna go Mothman as my number 4. We're going to West Virginia, where this creature debuted. It's a November 15th, 1966 to December 15th, 1967. And this one got a lot of attention. It's been labeled like a warning. Like, if the Mothman appears in a specific area, it's usually like a warning. I'll read some stuff, and then if it doesn't cover that, I'll touch up on some of the other things. So, November 15th, 1966, 2 young couples from Point Pleasant, Roger and Linda Scarberry, as well as Steve and Mary Millette, told police they had seen a large black creature whose eyes glowed red standing at the side of the road near the TNT area, the site of a former World War II munitions plant. Linda Scarberry described it as a slender, muscular man, about 7 feet tall with white wings. However, she was unable to discern its face due to the hypnotic effects of its eyes. The witnesses sped away, reporting that the creature flew after their car, making a screeching sound. And over the next few days, more people reported similar sightings after local newspapers covered it. 2 volunteer firemen saw it. Large bird with red eyes. Mason County Sheriff George Johnson, no relation, believed the sightings were due to a unusually large heron he termed with a shitapoke? I don't know. There's been a bunch of stuff. But there was some. Okay, here it is. Okay, so December 15th, 1967, there was a collapse of a bridge called Silver Bridge, and 46 people died in it. And it gave, this is where I think it really hit the mainstream, I think, is that the Mothman was apparently sighted in that location prior to the bridge collapse. So it's kind of been like this I don't know, this it's why it's viewed as a if you see it, something bad's about to happen, a messenger of sorts. So that's always piqued my curiosity, and that's, I think they made a movie about it. I never seen it, but Mothman, it is my number 4. Moving on to number 3, we got the Loch Ness Monster. All right, Nessie, as it's referred to. There's lots of imitators on this one. Apparently, there is one in Lake Erie, here in Western New York. Allegedly, there's one in this area, which is pretty cool. But Loch Ness is the big one. There's a alleged. It's considered a definite hoax. At least the famous photograph from 1934. But I think what adds to this one so much is the idea that we haven't really explored, like, our world hasn't really explored our water yet, like, thoroughly explored. Like, Lord knows what kind of creatures are hiding in the deep depths of the ocean. We just don't have the technology to do so just yet. There's still a lot of mystery down there. But I think Loch Ness might have been one of the earlier ones that I remember hearing about. But let's look through some accounts. of it. There's stuff as early as 565. There's stuff in the late 1800s. We'll start off with that. October 1871, D. Mackenzie of Balnain reportedly saw an object resembling a log or an upturned boat wriggling and churning up the water, moving slowly at first before disappearing at a faster speed. It was not published until 1934, but it's right when the popularity of it started to rise up. 1888, Alexander MacDonald of Abriachan sighted a large stubby-legged animal surfacing from the loch and propelling itself within 50 yards of the shore where MacDonald stood. He reported his sightings to Loch Ness water bailiff Alex Campbell and described the creature as looking like a salamander. L.D. McKay, this is, I believe, the most famous one. The best-known article that at first attracted a great deal of attention was published on May 2nd, 1933, in the Inverness Courier about a large beast or whale-like fish. And the article, by Alex Campbell, water bailiff for Loch Ness and a part-time journalist, discussed a sighting by L.D. McKay of an enormous creature with the body of a whale rolling in the water in the loch, while she and her husband John were driving on the A82 on April 15th, 1933. The word monster was reportedly applied for the first time in Campbell's article, although some reports claim that it was coined by editor Evan Barron. But the creature disported itself, rolling and plunging for fully a minute, its body resembling that of a whale, and the water cascading, churning like a simmering cauldron. Soon, however, it disappeared in a boiling mass of foam. Both onlookers confessed that there was something uncanny about the whole thing, for they realized that here was no ordinary denizen of the depths, because apart from its enormous size, the beast, in taking the final plunge, sent out waves that were big enough to have been caused by a passing steamer. And there's tons of accounts of sightings from it, and there's been all sorts of ideas. I mean, obviously, the easy one is just a general hoax. Another one is that it's a lineage of plesiosauruses from Jurassic, Triassic, Cretaceous period. I'm not sure which era that animal survived, was primarily in, but it's exciting, especially again knowing that we don't know a whole heck of a lot about our oceans, lakes, and so much more. It's just, and I know the loch has been examined dozens of times over. I think they've been able to reach the depths as far as they need to go, and nothing's been found. But there's still a fun little curiosity in following this legend. So Loch Ness Monster is my number 3. My number 2, Bigfoot. Bigfoot has been around a long time. It's another one that has various Native American ties to it, but the Patterson-Gimlin film is one of the most I think it's kind of been debunked at this point, but there is still level of curiosity because it's all over, and it's like, and there's so many variations from not just some of these woodland areas or whatever, and not just different regions, states, stuff like that, but variations all over the world, which is pretty significant. And a lot of these accounts of seeing this creature happen in a time before where we weren't all connected, right? Like we didn't, as a world, we didn't know of other countries or other locations really. We were kind of just regionalized, and what happened in our own little bubble was all that happened. And I think that's what adds to the lore of this. And it's such a shame that it's such a like low-hanging fruit for people to make fun of. Like I remember in like 2003 or 2004, me and my sister and brother were home, and there was a report that a Sasquatch body had been found. And this guy, he was having it shipped to his house. CNN and all these news organizations were covering it. They were so excited. And then the body arrived at this guy's house, and it was just a costume. I don't know. They dolled it up to look like it was real, but it was just a empty costume. And this guy was so embarrassed on national television, and there was sympathy, but I was like disappointed. I was like, damn, I really wanted this to be, something. But, over the years, there's been a lot of stuff that has popped up, a lot of various sightings over the years, a couple cool, eyewitness accounts that we've seen. Bigfoot is a legend. All right, absolute legend, and I think he's the goat of cryptids. I think is appropriate to put it alongside his name. But Bigfoot is my number 2, and my number 1. This is the sticker that my friend got me. My friend Tice, shout out. But this one was the first like cryptid that I didn't know about that really drew my attention, and this is they call it the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, or the Hopkinsville Goblins case. This one is crazy and surreal, and I'd love to go visit this place. There's a lot that goes with it. There's a lot of great stuff on YouTube, resource-wise. There's a lot of reading material about it. Let me read the story in the proper context, and we'll go from there. So, this dates back to 1955 in Christian County, Kentucky. August 21st, 5 adults and 7 children arrived at the Hopkinsville police station, claiming that small alien creatures from a spaceship had been attacking their farmhouse and that they had been holding them off with gunfire for nearly 4 hours. 2 of the adults, Elmer Sutton and Billy Ray Taylor, claimed that they had been shooting at a few short, dark figures who were repeatedly popping up at the doorway or peered into the windows. Chills. The Kentucky New Era, the first paper to report the incident, increased the number of creatures from 12 to 15 and continues to be the number most often reported. Concerned about a possible gun battle between local citizens, 4 police officers, 5 state troopers, 3 deputy sheriffs, and 4 military police officers from the nearby United States Army Fort Campbell drove to the Sutton farmhouse located near the town of Kelly in Christian County. Their search yielded no evidence apart from broken windows and holes in the screens, possibly the result of gunfire. Residents of the farmhouse included Glennie Langford, her children Lonnie, Charlton, and Mary, 2 grown sons from a previous marriage, Elmer Lucky Sutton and John Charlie Sutton, their respective wives, Vera and Aline, Aline's brother O.P. Baker, and Billy Ray Taylor and his wife June. Both the Taylors, Lucky and Vera Sutton, were reportedly itinerant carnival workers who were visiting the farmhouse. And when officers returned the next day, they found the house empty. Neighbors informed them that the families had packed up and left after claiming the creatures had returned about 3:30 in the morning. So the family's claims, they received a lot of widespread and local and national press. They described them as little green men, and they're creepy. The story used to be a lot more in depth, so I'm a little disappointed in that. But they were going out and they seen lights, and when they got back, it was just these creatures, and they would hear like that when they shoot them, they'd hear like this metallic clinging, and they just keep going and harassing. Again, popping up through the windows, popping up through the doors, and it was a long gun battle, and it's pretty crazy. It is pretty crazy. I am fast. Like, this is like perfect peak 1950s stuff going on. Like, this is the peak cryptid era for me, is hearing about something like this happening in the 1950s is in a farmhouse. Like when the video game Destroy All Humans, for anybody who's played that or knows about it, like the first level is in a farm area. This is what I'm living for. This is what I'm living for. So, there's a lot to read up, listen to. There's a lot more in-depth accounts on the Hopkinsville Goblins. Please feel free to look it up on YouTube, wherever you want to find your information from. But this is easily my favorite one. But there it is, everybody. The Cryptids List. I thank you so much for watching. As always, you have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday. Till next time, do you even list?